Hello vlog. So this week we talked about a lot of different things, but the things that I kind of wanted to touch on the most are the clear out policy and intellectual and developmental disabilities. And so that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about for this vlog, so stay tuned. So when looking at the clear out policy, there are definitely a lot of pros to it and there definitely are a lot of cons to it, and it kind of depends on how you're looking at the situation and what people are involved in the situation and kind of the student, where they're coming from, where their behavior is coming from, and what type of behavior management plan is in place as well. I think especially for students with autism, I've seen this used as a way to really help that student calm down faster than they normally might be able to with all of the other students in the room. And I know for me, at my summer camp, I've had to use this by getting all of my other students out of the room because it's not safe for them to be in there. And it also a lot of times can trigger other behaviors from other students because they get frustrated that one student is yelling or screaming or like kicking someone. And by taking all of these extra like distractors and forces out of the classroom, a lot of times that can calm a student down a lot quicker than just trying to manage the behavior while everyone is in the classroom and everyone is just being overstimulated by all the things going on. I think it also really depends on what kind of student it is and if that's a beneficial thing for their learning, if that's a beneficial thing for keeping them safe and keeping others safe. For some students, a clear out policy is not necessary and the behavior will slow down and will not like increase with other people in there, and it could be something that could only last a minute or two and the teacher is able to get under control. However, if it's something where a student is throwing chairs or throwing pencils or throwing something that could harm another student, another teacher, it's not beneficial or like helpful to have all of these other students in the classroom, in my opinion. So if clear out policy is not going to be a thing, and if people really do want to take the policy out of schools and out of like being an option for students with disabilities, students who, you know, may need that, I think one thing that we could do is like work on a lot more preventive strategies in schools and help train teachers to look for the signs of when a student's going to have a behavior and look for ways that help a student not engage in these behaviors by, you know, if they need a walk, take them on a walk really quickly, or prompt them to say like, hey, I need a break, and immediately take them to that break so they're not, you know, building up in this anger and this frustration and this anxiety to where it leads to a behavior that calls for a clear out policy. And one thing, if clear out policies are going to happen or they are not supposed to happen, giving teachers the training and restraints that's beneficial for them, and that also can help keep students safe, because at the end of the day, that should be a teacher's responsibility and their main goal. There is a lot of backlash on clear out policy because it takes away time from the classroom. However, if a student is having a behavior and like the entire class is in there, it's already going to be taking away from their class time. And so keeping students safe is something that should always be on a teacher's mind. And for people who just say like, oh, it takes away time from school, like that frustrates me a lot, because we shouldn't care more about our students learning the content rather than being safe and learning how to express their feelings, learning how to deal with these anxieties, with these angers, with these frustrations. And so I just think that focusing on that aspect of it is very closed-minded, and I'm not a fan of it. So other than clear out policy, we talked about intellectual and developmental disabilities this week. And so one of the things that I found interesting from what we were learning about is all of these things that we talked about that cause intellectual disabilities can also cause other disabilities. And I think it just kind of shows that disabilities are not like cause and effect all the time. It's not this happens so they're going to have this disability, or this happens so they need this exact treatment. Every single student and person with a disability is so different. And by saying, like, here's the standardized way of dealing with this, here's the standardized way that this disability looks, it's just not beneficial as a society to say. So some of the causes that we talked about for intellectual disabilities were genetic factors, toxic agents, neurology and brain development, and environmental factors. And I think what we kind of talked about in class and what I realized is these are so connected and hand in hand, and there's not one that you can just say doesn't really affect any of the other ones. And another thing that we talked about was that all of these things can be causes for any disability. Like toxic agents like fetal alcohol syndrome can also cause these other disabilities, and to just say that like these causes make this thing happen is not really beneficial to say. And so I just thought it was interesting because I think a lot of times our society just wants to say like, if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this won't happen. And a lot of times there's just no way of knowing. Disabilities come from everywhere and anywhere, and they look like this, but they also look the exact opposite. And so trying to categorize it isn't beneficial. And that sucks, and that's annoying as a parent, as a student with a disability, as like a family member, as a teacher. But we have to recognize that adapting to each of our students is our job, and finding different ways to accept, deal with, adapt, and work with these students is our main job at the end of the day. So thank you for listening to another vlog. This was just kind of what I got from this week. I hope you have a great Sunday. Peace out, vlog.